Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena is Vampires the best deck in Standard? A number of pro players seem to think so. So here we go. I come back from Europe after a 2-week vacation and the meta is all Scapeshift and Vampires. And now with the MPL core split about to start, which is where the best Magic players in the game battle each other for fun and prizes and points. Actually, it's pretty legit serious competition on Arena. The shows air on Saturday on the main Magic Twitch channel if you're interested. But in this week's division, 7 of the best players in the world, 5 of them played Vampires. One of them played a Dimir control deck, which I'll definitely take a look at, that is designed to beat Vampires, and one of them played a Scapeshift deck. So when did Vampires become the best freaking deck in the meta? We knew it was good. It got a huge upgrade in Sorin the Bloodlord, but is it really the very best? Well, it's a quick proactive deck that puts pressure on the opponent. It has cards that are hard to deal with from some decks, like Adanto Vanguard, Legion's Landing, for example. It has good card advantage in Champion of Dusk, which can draw a whole bunch of cards and is a pretty key draw in the deck. Knight of the Ebon Legion scales well into the late game. Sorin Imperious Bloodlord is always a huge threat. And the deck has Legion's End, which against Scapeshift can exile all their zombies, while also being a big hit against a number of other cards in the format, like Hydroid Krasis Chains, Growth Chamber Guardians, etc. There aren't many decks right now that don't run some creature with mana cost 2 or less, and exiling that creature, and possibly exiling something else from the hand, is pretty big game. So, 4 copies of Legion's End. This build in particular is from Brad Nelson. Brad Nelson won the last split, the War of the Spark split, the Spark split division. He was the only undefeated player in MPL Standard split play. So he knows what he's doing. He's widely considered one of the best Standard players in the world, and this is what he chose to play. Vampires for Vicious Conquistador. That second point of toughness can be a pretty big game, and so can getting that life loss in that the opponent can't quite block. Sky Marcher, Aspirant, 3 of those. We still need more 1-drops to go over the top. And then we've got the Adanto Vanguards, the Legion Lieutenants to pump up the squad. Knight of the Ebon Legion, a huge hit from M20, huge payoff late in the game when you can build up that mana base. And then we have Sanctum Seekers, Champion of Dusk, Vona. These are things you can put into play with Sorin, Imperious Bloodlord, as that 3 mana, -3 ability to put a vampire card onto the battlefield. That is the nut draw. The 1-drop, 2-drop, or 2 more 1-drops, and then Sorin, Champion of Dusk, refill your hand and smash away. Sanctum Seeker is another good way to burn the opponent out and get through unblockable damage. In fact, the deck has a lot of unblockable damage when it comes to Vicious Conquistador, the Sorin, which can go face, the Danto, which you don't really want to block, it just eats your blocker, Sanctum Seeker's drains, it's great. And the one of Vona can just tear apart whatever the opponent has going on. Vampires in this form is not long for the meta. Most of it will rotate out. It's hard to see the deck surviving once Legion Lieutenant, Adanto Vanguard, Sky Marcher Aspirant, Vicious Conquistador, Legion's Landing, Sanctum Seeker, and Vona, and Champion of Dusk are all rotated out in October. But for right now, a lot of pros think this is the best deck to be playing, and we're going to go give it a shot in my favorite format, the best of 1 ladder. It's a curve. If we draw the land, it's a great curve. And we're on the play. Conquistador, Adanto, Sorin, Champion. Exactly what we want. We're in a showdown of the cats. Let's make sure they know who we are. Send a message. Got Orzhov Guildgate hits the battlefield. So do we lead with the Vanguard or the Lieutenant? I like the Vanguard. Lieutenant can add 2 more damage to the attack next turn. And the opponent opening with the Guildgate, they might be on Vampires as well. Big draw step coming, though. If it's a land, we are rolling. It is a land. The opponent with the Dimir Guildgate, some kind of an Esper control, but they're on a very slow draw. They're going to have a really hard time surviving this. Boom. He sired many warriors, you guys. He knows what's up. All right, down to 13, facing already, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power. Teferi Time Raveler, you're a little bit late, and the opponent had to pay 2 life. What are you going to do? Bounce the Vanguard? You still take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just lethal. And instead they're going to target the champion. Okay. Do we still get there? Let's see. We play you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite dead. We could just drop the Seeker and be super mana efficient and get some extra drains in. We can also that way take out the Teferi, so why not? So what we can do now is attack the Conquistador over here, which will still do 2 damage to face. And then over here we attack with the Adanto. Triggers, triggers, triggers. What a beating. All right, our opponent needs something epic here. Kaya's Wrath, I'll pay 4 life. That will not save you. And that's game. Turn 3 Teferi, turn 4 Kaya's Wrath. Not good enough on the draw against vampires. We've got Sorin again, and we have a creature to play off Sorin, along with a bunch of 1-drops, or cheap drops. We're on the draw this time. Not as promising of a hand as the first one, but still really good. Let's lead with the Aspirant, because it might be able to get in for 2 damage instead of 1. And the opponent going straight for a Vanguard of their own. So we don't want to attack into that Vanguard if they'll pay life. The opponent using full control mode, you can tell by the clicks, I think. Of course, well, this might have held priority as well. Let's get the Legion Lieutenant down so that our Sky Marcher can get busy right away. Take a bite out of him. This is where drawing a Legion's End for our opponent's Adanto would be very nice. I don't think it matters too much which lands you tap here. All right. Yeah, full control approach from the opponent here. And there is a Feather the Redeemed. Oof. This is not great. Feather's going to stick because I don't have a good answer to it. The Feather matchup is pretty challenging. If I play out Sorin, it's very likely to die, but sneaking out a Sanctum Seeker doesn't do much in this situation either. Sorin could come out and plus onto the Aspirant so that it has 4 power and can attack through the Feather. Is that the best use of my turn? I could also deploy the Vanguard and the Landing. Hope to catch the opponent attacking, and then the Sanctum Seeker next turn can do a lot of damage. I think that's a little bit better. I don't think it's a lot better. I'm not in love with what's going on. If we had been on the play, we'd be in a very different situation, but being on the draw and having the opponent set up with a Feather is really scary. If they have a Reckless Rage, we just start losing a creature every turn. It's another creature, the 10th District Legionnaire. And now here comes the Reckless Rage. This game is all but over. We needed the opponent to miss on some part of the Feather-like curve, but instead they basically God drew. So let's see how they play this. Vanguard coming in. We could force them to pay 4 life to the Vanguard. They're having to think about it. They're going to go in with Feather. Alright, well, nothing I can do about that. Also shows the opponent doesn't want to engage. And there's a Sanctum Seeker. I mean, I can play this out. The opponent will Reckless Rage it. I don't think that there's a lot else to do, though, than try to get damage through and hope the opponent plays too conservative. Alright, I don't want to play against manual tap Feather with Reckless Rage for very long, so I'm going to get the hell out. I don't think you can blame me too much. Alright, some early drops in Legion's End. Let's see where it leads us. All right, we're gonna launch with the Sky Marcher. I was trying to decide if I wanted to shock to play Conquistador to have Legion's End open and already have the Conquistador out so we don't get bottlenecked on black, but I think it will be okay. Ooh, well, there's a little bit of punish there, and probably one of the reasons why Conquistador is the better card in the format. I think I want the well, the Knight can attack through the opponent next turn and possibly pump. But it's red. They're definitely going to have shocks and nonsense like that. We may as well get the Conquistador down instead. If the opponent's going to kill something, make it this. Pyro. Yep, of course. You think the opponent wants to trade? Or do we just Legion's End this and slow the opponent down? The sad thing is we don't have another black source to deploy another vampire. So if we're Legion's Ending, it is our whole turn. Let's see if the opponent wants to trade. I think I would accept a trade here because I have so many like little drop critters. They do take a trade. Okay, let's launch another. Man, the double planes is hurting though. The opponent is really picking on the vampire count on the field. I'm not upset about that. 1 mana left. Is it a lava runner? That would be probably the good play. It's a firebrand. I don't like using a Legion's End on a firebrand. I would need a really good reason to. Well, I do want, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and we're gonna shock ourselves for 2 so that this is available to become bigger if the opponent targets it. I want to avoid playing the Sanctum Seeker while the Firebrand's on the field because Firebrand plus Strike can kill it. Pump. Now if the opponent throws another bolt at it, we get a 2-for-1, which is great. Did the opponent not think about that? Interesting. Now what? Lava Runner. Face. Skewer the critics or light up the stage? Skewer the critics. Okay. The opponent spent a lot of resources on that Knight. That was a 3-for-1. And now, hopefully Sanctum Seeker can just lock this down. The opponent needs a Lava Coil or 2 spells to deal with it. Double Lava Runner. This is gonna leave a mark. We could do that, or we could draw 2 with the champ. I'm at 10. I could go to 8. I don't think there's a draw the opponent can have that kills me, and who knows, they might draw a 3rd Lava Runner. It could happen. Ooh, double land. We don't really want to attack with Seeker here, though. Double block with the Lava Runner gets it off the field. We want none of that. Here's a Scorch Spitter. The opponent is about to be ended, though, despite 3 straight lands off the top. Both of them get exiled by the Legion's End. The Sanctum Seeker crashes in, gains 2 life, drains 2, and hits for 7. Here's that Firebrand. I mean, the opponent can hit me for 3. I'll turn around and drain them and kill them. So that's the game, despite a sudden flood down the stretch. The cards we had were good enough. Maybe a little too soon. The opponent's at 1. Maybe I spoke a little too soon. Lethal math is hard, guys. Give CGB a break. Hashtag in comments, give CGB a break. Let's see the opponent light up the stage and hit double lightning strike. Oh! Nope. They had a shot. They definitely had a shot. Oh my goodness. But we got there. That would have been an amazing lethal if they had pulled it off. All right, we don't have the turn 1 Conquistador, but I think you still keep the hand. It's like, this has happened a few times now, and it's getting a little tilting that I can't play my 1-drop because of Isolated Chapel. It's just, I drew the wrong 1-drop. What else can you do? I don't think it's a mulligan because of that. We still have a lot of good stuff going on. So let's go, Vanguard. Let's put on a show. Grazies. Field of the Dead, away we go. All right, time to battle the Legion. And then bring the Legion to an end. Well, we are the Legion, but you know what I mean. I mean the Zombie Legion. Zombies versus vampires. Classic MTG. So this deck, we'll be doing a video on this deck, I'm sure, in the near future, but it's been adapting as well, trying to use Deputy of Detention, and in some cases I've seen Time Wipe to combat the vampire deck. That's a big play. That Field of the Dead means that the opponent's not going to have on 7 mana lands of 7 different names. That's a big deal. We're stuck on 2 lands, but bringing the Legion nonetheless. We will meet them in battle nonetheless. Probably time for some chumps. Now, I would save this Rejuvenator. Yeah. Because Rejuvenator can block the Vanguard next turn, and if the opponent's playing around Legion's End can't target the Rejuvenator. It's only a creature with 2 or less. We draw the land for Sorin. Things are getting real. Let's see what the opponent does. They have Circuitous Root. Does that get them there? Can they start zombifying? Here they come. All right, land off the top. Do we Sanctum Seek? I guess we can play the Sorin, Sanctum Seek. Or we can, yeah, let's end them. Let's end them and getting a nice big hit this turn. Hit the opponent down to 7. Next turn we play the Conquistador. The next turn the Conquistador is 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have to block everything. And then the next turn a Sorin minus can be lethal. We could also, of course, just draw another Legion's End and get there. The opponent with a Deputy of Detention and a Hydroid Crassus in hand. Deputy of Detention on the Legion Lieutenant can be annoying, but Sorin can come out and kill the Deputy. Let's see what happens. There's also Escape Shift. The opponent can make another huge zombie horde. In fact, Deputy and Scape Shift this turn is devastating, without question. But the opponent's going for a Grazer. Can they still do it? Yes, they can still do all those things I mentioned. Alright, and here comes Zombie Hell. What a draw from the opponent. All the right moves in all the right places. Oh yeah, we're going down. And a Hydroid Crassus to boot. And a Hydroid Crassus to boot. So we need to draw another Legion's End. That's pretty much the name of the game. That Blast Zone's not untapped. It's a visual glitch, FYI. I'm trying to pass all, but the game seems to have some performance updates all of a sudden. Alright, so only 16 2/2 zombies. That's not a Legion's End. So sacrifice this Conquistador. Throw it at the Deputy. Go to 23. Block 3 of those 13 is 26 damage. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's not an oops, my friend. I know very much that I can't win. There's nothing oops about it. There was no play that could win me the game. I guess I will try this hand because I get to flip a landing, and if I draw a Champion of Dusk, the hand's great. So, mono blue. All right. Well, they run Spell Pierce, and they run all kinds of cards like Essence Scatter and things like that. I think I'll lead with a Legion's Landing, just to make sure I don't get negated. Play around Negate and Spell Pierce. Off. Here we go. More fun with mono blue. But let's see if they can handle the curve out smashings, although that's a lot of land we've drawn now. A lot of land. Two straight lands off the top is not what you look for in your 4-lander. And yet it seems to happen. Seems to happen a lot. Conspiracy theories in the comments. Can the opponent put up a good blocker against these? Wow. Serious right now? All right. Does the opponent have a Merfolk Trickster? No, not yet. Takes it all. Okay. Well, now we can crank out more little 1/1s. What else you got? Nothing. All right, so some kind of like, if they had a dive down, would they use it there to try to get one of my, like my Sky Marcher off the battlefield? Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. Obsession is still curious, and the opponent says go. Let's crank out the 1/1s. I mean, my whole plan is to attack. Not doing much else. Here's a Trickster. So do you think they have a Wizard's Retort for this champion? I think the chances are very real. Okay. Why target the Conquistador when you could have taken lifelink away from this vampire? Well, let's go for it. Resolves. Are you telling me there's a chance? Holy cow, I'm kind of stunned. That may have put us back in the game. Our life total is quite a bit low, but so is our opponent's. Like, this is a very real fight now. What's the best use for this Sorin? The opponent can counter the ability if we try to bolt something with the Sorin, and they're probably going to counter something that we play. So we want to play all of our cheap stuff. Maybe there's something to be said for just playing a landing and a Sky Marcher. I definitely want to attack with everything, I think. I want life all the way around. The Trickster can eat something, but we want to get as much damage in as we possibly can. Let's try to grow the Sky Marcher so the Herald can't trade with it. Let's try to make it fly. So here is another one. That resolved way too easily. Okay, we're going to try to feel the opponent out. Don't get any dirty thoughts. If this pauses, it's a negate. Okay. I think the opponent's got a negate then. All right, let's turn some things sideways. Do I keep charging forward? I think so, although we do have 2 flying blockers now. What if we just send the champ? How bad is that? No. Be aggressive. Let's pressure. Let's create pressure where we can. Sure. Down to 2. The Sorin could be lethal. We know the opponent didn't counter a creature, so I think resolving the Vanguard is better. I think the opponent has a negate. So we're going to play this. Yeah, they're a little tired of my thinking, but I am playing against a blue deck. How to play around counters is very important. You should definitely consider it. I think that just smashing as much stuff as you can into a blue deck is how you lose, and the opponent scoops it up. We beat a turn 2 Curious Obsession on a Storm Tamer. Let's take a look back at the deck and see about any changes we might want to make. So, first of all, 4 Legion's End does seem very important against the Scapeshift deck as one of the ways that you can win, but I don't think it can be your only removal. A huge problem I had today was the card Feather, which we can't cast that down. We can't do very much about it in general. So it seems like there's one more removal type effect needed. In my original list of vampires, I had an Ixalan's Binding. Prison Realm is another card that you may want to consider finding room for. This deck also has the Vona, which we never drew. That might be better in that situation. I was kind of amazing how beaten I was today by Feather. I'll probably include one of the games where I lost to Feather, but not all of them. But Feather was an absolute beating on this deck. The Scapeshift deck, certainly, regardless of our quick clock and trying to do everything right, was still an absolute pounding and a very difficult matchup. And if you don't draw Legion's End in a number of games, you'd feel like you're very, very behind and in a bad space. So I don't like the 4 Legion's End as the only removal. I feel like we need something else in the deck to do a little bit more work in that department in Best of 1. Right now, Best of 1 is very fast, very tempo, and not having an answer to a turn 2 Dreadhorde Arcanist or a turn 3 Feather is simply game over. So the deck needs something more in Best of 1 for that job. I think Prison Realm is it. I would probably trim maybe 1 Aspirant and 1 Conquistador, somehow make a trim like that, or 1 Conquistador, balance out the black and the white 1-drops to get some Prison Realm action in the deck. Aside from that, let's answer the question, is Vampires the best deck in Standard? It can't be. It just can't be. The deck has too many clunky draws where it's playing a bunch of weak-powered creatures against things that are very hard to remove, and its removal spells are far from universal. I think that the Legion's End was a direct metagame call, but one that is necessary because Scapeshift is so prevalent. But at the same time, playing removal that narrow just means that we lose when the opponent plays something like Elementals, or when they play a Feather, the Redeemed, which I've said before, but I'll say again. The deck has no solution to an Arclight Phoenix, just as another example, and Galta will just smash you. So I think the deck is narrow and focused on very specific metagame, which is exactly what the core split does. I think it's good. I think you can play it a lot. The best deck in Standard. Maybe with sideboarding, maybe in a focused metagame, then you can come to that belief, and I can 100% believe you. In Best of 1 ranked arena, not totally. I'm not sold. I think we can do better, and we'll continue searching for better every day. If you don't like today's deck, wait a day. I play a new deck every day. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing. You can also check out my free-to-play channels at Covert Go Free and my live streams at Covert Go Live. Thank you for watching this video, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.